Welcome back to the Crypto's Key Conversation. We're going to quickly jump into CoinGecko here. We're currently sitting at a $1.79 trillion market cap, currently down 2.5% for the day. Just looking at the top 10 here, Bitcoin sitting at 38,116, Ethereum sitting at 2,648, Tether, Binance Coin is sitting at $368, XRP sitting at 71 cents, Cardano 88 cents, Solana is $86, Terra $53. And Binance USD flipped Avalanche, sitting at $1, stable dollar. Coming over here to the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, look at where we're at. We just dropped down lower into this extreme fear range, and obviously there's been a lot going on lately with Jerome Powell, inflation, and their interest rate hikes, and whether they're going to take a hawkish approach. You have the Russian-Ukraine issues, plus a lot of other FUD that's been going on in the market. So obviously there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt within the market, which doesn't like it. I want to come over in these topics of discussion for today. So there's a couple different videos on tweet threads that I want to cover that I felt were pretty significant and important. So I want to start with this one by JV. JV says, this is why Ripple and XRP are hated. Also, you have to ask, with a company that welcomes and promoted regulation the right way, why is the main regulator trying to disadvantage their company while giving a company, Ethereum, a pass that tried to skirt regulation? So let's take a listen into this real quick. We'll go ahead and restart this.
One thing on this note that I think is important, we are viewed, some of you who follow Ripple might know this, we're viewed in the broader sort of blockchain Bitcoin space as a bit of a sellout, to be perfectly honest. So the blockchain is all about being sort of anarchistic, right? You want, down with the man, down with governments, down with big companies, down with banks. They're the central counterparty that is taking our stuff or charging usurious rates. We believe that the blockchain revolution, what we're doing, actually works from revolution from within rather than from out. We want to work with banks and regulators and governments to be more efficient, and we invest a lot of time in doing so. Now, we get a lot of arrows because of that, because we're sellouts. And it's ironic, sort of in a contrarian movement, we're the contrarians. Like we're not going with the flow, but we believe strongly in the impact, and it's the right approach. I don't know if I exactly addressed your question, but I think we take it super seriously, and we invest a lot of time and money to sit down with banks and make sure that we're working with them versus trying to disintermediate them and trying to skirt around the government or the regulators. We think.
So, that's pretty powerful, and I actually just wrote that down. XRP and Ripple are sellouts. They want to have a revolution within the system, not outside of it. So Johnny Deaton says the SEC makes a big deal about how Ripple didn't offer a commercially viable use case for XRP until 2018. What needs to be made clear is that Ripple chose the most difficult path for XRP, disrupting a half-century legacy banking system built on fees from friction. It takes time. Absolutely, it takes time. And there's JV had posted more parts to the video if you want to take a listen in, but I just thought that was just a significant portion of it, because I know as an investor in XRP, and it being my heaviest investment within the crypto space and accumulating since 2017, I've seen the hate that us as XRP and Ripple investors have been taking, the kind of just taking a beating throughout the ebbs and flows of this market, being investors in it. So I thought that was pretty significant. Coming over here, Johnny Deaton puts up this tweet thread here. It says, I was talking to Jordan Deaton if she fully grasped that she is a part of history. So he puts up this image here, but he continues down here. Says, at 18, she got control of her savings account. She accumulated $15,000 for birthdays, graduation, Xmas, and etc. She heard her dad talk a lot about crypto. She decided she would just buy the top three. She bought Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. She had no idea about Satoshis, Vitalik, or Ripple. Despite being completely unaware of a company called Ripple or a man named Brad Garlinghouse, the SEC claims that this 18-year-old was enticed by Ripple to enter into a common enterprise with Ripple and all other unknown XRP holders because Brad and his team would make her investment profitable. So looking at this, that's literally what the SEC is arguing throughout this case. Like, that's literally what they're saying. When inception of XRP was a security and today's sales today's XRP and the sales on the secondary market are securities, and that's pretty much what they're saying. We're entering a common enterprise with Ripple, and this is just a great and simple example. But it's like really like I was educated enough before I invested in because I did a little research, but like I still didn't know that I had personally any ties to Ripple in regards of a common enterprise. Like I didn't expect to her like hold shares in Ripple or anything. Like I never talked to Bragg on House, just like the rest of the thousands and thousands of other investors out there. We invested into a cryptocurrency called XRP. I mean, that's literally what we invested in, knowing its use case, utility, and how it was going to disrupt what's our current, financial payment system as of today. Coming over here, Digital Asset Investor had responded to Thinking Crypto's Tony's video here, which was pretty powerful. So we're going to take a listen into this and we're going to kind of talk about it. So let's listen in.
Now, this may be, Joe, an awkward question to ask you, but I have to ask it because there's a lot of video clips, a lot of connections, documents, and so forth. Why do you think Jay Clayton handled the lawsuit the way he did on his way out? And in addition to that, there's potential conflicts of interest with Jay Clayton and William Hinman with regards to the Ethereum not a security speech. What can you tell us about that from your perspective?
Obviously, I am aware of the allegations around that. I don't put a lot of stock in it, honestly. It's just not how the SEC operates. It's not how those two gentlemen in particular operate. I view those allegations as conspiracy theories. It's the status of Ethereum as a security, like the status of Bitcoin as a security and any other sort of asset that STAT is looking at, is examined by a lot of different people at the SEC, and these decisions are made by a lot of different people at the SEC. And the idea that either Bill Hinman or Jay Clayton, had an undisclosed financial motivation for going in one direction or going another direction, I just think that's unfounded speculation by people who don't really have a clear understanding of how the SEC operates, frankly. I could be proven completely wrong, obviously, and maybe we'll find that there is some dark conspiracy going on here. But to me, it's about the same as the QAnon conspiracy.
Okay, so just to touch on that. So the points that I wanted to make on this was, okay, he says he doesn't put a lot of stock into it. Well, then you need to make sure that you go and check the timeline that Johnny Deaton and Digital Asset Investor always talk about. Go ahead and check the timeline and dispute what's going on. Then he says, now how the SEC operates. Where have you been? Have you been paying attention to any of the video footage, any of the Twitter threads that's been popping up? The SEC current chairman, Gary Gensler, in his own words on video, Chairman Clayton on video in his own words, and then you look at the connecting bodies from Consensus and Joseph Lubin, and then the William Hinman Theorem Free Pass speech. If you just looked at all that stuff, you could see that the SEC isn't operating, from a logical and fair and just manner. Something shady's happening. So that's not how the SEC operates. It's quite silly to me. And then he says these allegations are conspiracy theories. Like I said, check the timeline, check the video footage, check all the information that the XRP army and community has been servicing of them with their own words and them on video footage. It's not like anyone's just throwing out some random stuff. It's like it's there. They gave us all of our fuel, and it's continuing to surface more and more shady behavior. Then he says, he's talking about decisions at the SEC when it comes to security status are made by a lot of people at the SEC. Then why is there so much, redaction and suppression when it comes to certain documents? And then, why does it almost seem like all of the SEC, if it's made by so many people at the SEC, then why isn't everybody on the same page? You know, why do you have certain SEC individuals that just doesn't believe how the SEC is operating by enforcement is proper, and they don't believe that how they went about declaring XRP a security is proper, and XRP being a security in general isn't correct, especially in relation to Ethereum. If Ethereum is not a security, then XRP shouldn't be a security. But you're talking about there's a lot of people that's made that decision. It's like, okay, well, really, or was it the person in power influenced that decision for that outcome? So conspiracy theory, I mean, that's, you're gonna have to miss me with that. And then he said it's unfounded speculation. The timeline's there. We've been discovering all of this stuff for some time now. You just got to educate yourself, Joseph Hall. And no disrespect, but it's just like, don't sit there and throw out the conspiracy theory accusation. And then you ended, the way you ended was more solid than the things you were saying. You were saying, I can be proven wrong. Absolutely. And I respect that you say that, because you will be proven wrong, and you can be as of now. I mean, look what's been surfacing. Just educate yourself. So I wanted to go through with what John Deaton and Digital Asset Investor said. Digital Asset Investor said, remember all that video, the timeline, not in dispute. The documents, their own words. This guy just called all of that conspiracy and compared everything we have found on Hinman and Clayton to the Q movement, the conspiracy movement. The SEC problem is systemic, folks. Wow. The U.S. has a big problem. So make sure you go in and check out Tony's Thinking Crypto complete video. This is just like a snippet of kind of what's going on. But we're going to come over here and see what John Deaton says. He says, great job today, Tony, but him summarily dismissing the conflicts of interest and gross appearances of impropriety as conspiracy theories is nonsense. If these can be so easily dismissed, I'm sure he won't hesitate to come back on your show with me so we can respectfully discuss it. Absolutely. Drop the mic. So here's what Tony covered. It says they were talking about the SEC and crypto regulation, Ripple and XRP lawsuit, Ethereum and Bill Hinman and Jay Clayton, BlockFi, crypto lending, and Bitcoin spot ETF and more. So as you can see, Tony's covering like all the stuff that the SEC is like overstepping and over regulating by enforcement. And he even threw in the the BlockFi stuff, the Nexo stuff, and like their crypto lending, how they're trying to shut all that down. So great job, Tony, with that. So make sure you check out that video. So I wanted to end on this. So remember, we're talking about Joseph Hall was talking about conspiracy theory, unfounded speculation, yada yada yada. The SEC doesn't operate like that. Let's listen in to see how other people in mainstream media feel about the SEC. Let's take a listen into this.
Elon Musk accusing the SEC of leaking information from a federal probe, tweeting, quote, "This is just peeling back the first layer of the corruption onion. Stay tuned." Of course, last week I had more choice words for the SEC, Jim, accusing them of trying to thwart his right to free speech.
Yeah, I think that it's just not worth tangling with the SEC. And Elon is doing such a great job. It's just, I mean, I totally understand. I know Mark Cuban at one point tussled with him on a different issue, but they're just not worth picking on. It just doesn't get you anywhere. So, look, I think he's a great man. I mean, it's just my own advice that stay focused. Just stay focused.
It's the same thing to the SEC, by the way, though. I mean, they're doing all these weird potential rulemaking for hedge funds and disclosure.
You know, I'm glad you
it
mentioned
seems weird to me,
there are a lot
given crypto and so many things where we're still waiting.
Yes,
Still waiting.
and a lot of people feel that he's off the reservation.
Yes.
I don't, but he's in common phases. He's really going full board on a lot of issues that don't really.
Gensler, I know he
Yeah.
is on stuff like these are sophisticated investors in these funds. Why is this become such an obsession?
I think I'm going to have to get to the bottom of that with him because it doesn't make sense.
Elon Musk accused.
Okay. So I like how this gentleman said those are sophisticated investors that are into these, these platforms, these lending platforms, or even just digital assets in general. Like, why are you kind of overstepping and regulating by enforcement affecting those investors, but all investors? And then he's like, oh yeah, I got to get to the bottom of that. But we all know, Jim Cramer on the chair Gensler's bandwagon for sure. I mean, from the video footage we've seen. So they were talking about it's not worth it to tussle or to even go there with the SEC. And like, how crazy is that? But you claim, come in and talk to us so we can get on the same page and make sure that, you are going about things the proper way. You come in, we have a conversation, and then we kind of part ways, and then you go on and flourish in your project. But it's like, no. That's not the point. He literally just hit it. He said it's not worth, it's not worth picking on them. You don't get anywhere. It's not worth having that conversation with the SEC because it's quite clear Ripple's been there doing it for years, and they still dropped the lawsuit on them. It doesn't matter. If you go in and have that conversation, they're getting information on you so they can come at you harder when it comes to these lawsuits. And then look at Coinbase. Coinbase has been in communication with the SEC. They try to start their lending platform the proper way, and boom, they got shut down before they even started. So it's crazy. And then they said Gary Gensler is off the reservation. He says there's weird rulemaking going on. That's what we're dealing with. Weird rulemaking. Nothing set in stone. Just pulling it out of their butts, trying to fit whatever narrative that they're trying to fit, trying to suppress the innovation that's going on within this space. Weird rulemaking. I didn't say it. Take it from these gentlemen. It's quite interesting to see that other people, especially in the mainstream media, are really seeing what's going on. So we need to keep surfacing all the shady behavior that's going on with the SEC and all parties involved when it comes to this Ripple versus SEC lawsuit. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.